And Carly's with us in the studio. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. I found that absolutely fascinating, by the way, that this cocktail of drugs that you were using before doesn't touch it,
Yeah,
the pain.
no, not at all. It helped for a short period of time. The opiates, maybe helped me for a couple of months, but, opiates aren't great for long-term pain. There's been lots of studies to prove that, a long-term chronic pain shouldn't be treated with opioids because they wear off too quickly and you have to increase the dose. Just before I tried cannabis, I think I was just about to take my third step up on a fentanyl patch. Now, fentanyl is extremely powerful. It's one of the most powerful opiates that we have access to. And even that wasn't controlling my pain to the point where they just had to keep stepping it up. And that is the situation of a lot of pain patients. Well, all pain patients in the UK are in, because that is the standardised treatment for chronic pain, is to throw opiates at it. Now, opiates only work for 1 in 4 people that try it. So those other 3 people are still left.
What's interesting about
massive amount of pain.
When the news came last year that medical cannabis is going to be issued, you must have thought, oh, how fantastic! This is all my dream. And then you tried to get it, and it's a different story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tried to get it funded on the NHS as a prescription.
Yeah, in the 3 months. So the RCP, or the Royal College of Physicians, who brought out the guidelines, they brought out the guidelines, and in the 3 months that they have been available to the NHS, not one single NHS prescription has been written.
Wow.
And that is because the trusts are blocking that. So at the moment we're in a situation where the RCP are blaming the trusts, saying we've given them the tools to prescribe, and the trusts are saying we can't prescribe under these guidelines. So we're in a bit of a stalemate at the moment, whereby there's 1.1 million estimated medical cannabis patients in the UK stuck in between these 2 organisations that aren't communicating in any way.
I suppose that if you're thinking about what's the logic behind the guidelines, well, maybe medical cannabis. Well, we know it's expensive. It's relatively expensive, but then again, the drugs that you're on as well must be expensive as well. I wonder, weight for pounds. Do they?
Actually, the actual medicine isn't actually that expensive.
Isn't it?
Right. The big expense comes when import companies have to bring it in from the Netherlands, and there are ways around that.
So it would be cheaper for the NHS.
So it will be from a zoomed out point of view. So, for example, a lot of the services that I did rely on when I was used on opiates, I no longer rely on now. So I'm not putting as much pressure on the NHS. I'm not going to the GP every week. I'm not seeing my specialist. I'm not having to, they're not having to fork out for a lot of my care. But also, if you zoom that back, cannabis has got the ability to really transform people's lives. I was taking a lot. I was on benefits. I was taking a lot of resources. And now, now transitioning from opiates to cannabis, I'm just a much more productive citizen. I'm now off benefits, the majority of them anyway. I'm paying tax. I'm walking up and down the road without my walking stick. I'm in the community. I'm trying my best to engage and trying my best to further this cause. So I'm much more of a productive citizen. So I think we need to look at it from a much more global perspective. It's not just one drug for another. It's about quality of life, and how much managing chronic pain patients is a drain on resources from a sort of a wider
global point of view. Yeah, absolutely. Carly, thanks very much indeed.
Brilliant, no problem.
I've got my fingers crossed for you that something happens in the next 3 months.
Yes.
So that you can't keep forking out $2,500 every time. So we'll see we wish you luck. And in an hour's time, we're going to talk to an NHS expert about that cost benefit of using cannabis and whether or not the guidelines should be changed. So it'll be interesting.
Brilliant. Thank you.
13 minutes to 8 o'clock.